What is this production?
Oh!
And the thing that I really appreciate about Tank is he's a dog. That kind of that what he just said. You can put them earmuffs up and go at it. He kind of will assess you as well, and whatever he needs to do, he'll do it.
Jake Paul has reacted to the new sparring and training footage of Gervonta Tank Davis that recently went viral across social media, and his response has everyone talking. The clip shows Davis looking sharper, faster, and more explosive than ever as he prepares for his next fight, leaving fans buzzing about whether Tank is finally entering his prime. Davis has made his name in the lighter divisions, usually fighting around 133 to 135 pounds, and has never officially weighed above 140 pounds in his professional bouts. Meanwhile, Paul is a natural cruiserweight, typically competing around the 200-pound range, a weight he's recently maintained in his fights. This isn't just a few pounds of difference. It's several weight classes apart. When the gap is that wide, a lot more comes into play. The heavier fighter often has the advantage in durability, power, the ability to absorb punches, and overall leverage. At that point, it's less about pure skill and more about who can take a hit and still stay effective.
Something else that's unfortunate is the idea that Jake Paul might actually fight Gervonta Tank Davis. This can't be real. When it came up a couple of months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to cover this because there's no way it's real. There's no way they're really going to do that because it makes no sense. Why would you do that for him? Outside of it, like, okay, you can look at it like an exhibition, which it will be, and we'll take a look at some of the rule set for it. But Gervonta Davis is one of, if not the best, biggest names at 135 pounds, and is an active in his prime fighter. I don't want to hear the similar to Floyd and Logan thing, because at that point, Floyd was retired. Floyd had done all he needed to do in the sport. Tank is still in his prime, still has multiple high-level opponents that he needs to fight. And you can say, oh, you know, the Jake would be a one-off. Side quest. That's fine, but that just tells me that Tank doesn't care about being a high-level champion in the sport anymore.
Carmel Moughton recently reflected on a sparring session he had with Davis when Tank was just 15 or 16 years old. He admitted that he was nervous at first, but said the session quickly turned into a chess match. Not all about power, but about timing, speed, and counterwork. Moughton explained that Davis never went full force trying to knock him out. Instead, they traded angles and rhythm in a smart, strategic exchange. According to him, Davis's strength was already noticeable, but it was his pure skill and quickness that truly stood out. Sean Porter defended Davis's decision to step into an exhibition with Jake Paul, arguing that critics are missing the bigger picture. For Porter, this fight isn't about proving greatness in the ring. It's about securing financial stability for Davis and his family. Since it's an exhibition, the risks are limited by agreed-upon rules and safety measures, with the main focus being entertainment. Porter emphasized that fighters often have short careers and must take opportunities that offer both exposure and financial reward. From this perspective, Tank Davis accepting such a fight isn't selling out, but rather protecting his future while giving fans a show. Porter's words highlight the delicate balance between boxing purists who value legacy and fighters who must think about life beyond the sport.
They're trying to make it safer and all those sorts of things, but there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore, but it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like, they're talking like I don't know the official one. They're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh damn.
Like, they're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100 million or something like that. But I do see exactly what you're saying about the essence of boxing. I wish they would kind of separate a little more because exhibitions have always been a thing. There's always been an argument.
Right.
But they're just selling it like a real fight almost.
Right.
So I think that maybe if we could create a better like distinction, more of a difference,
Right.
there might be less hate on it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm not going to tell Tank not to take that fight.
And I said this last year. I said create a influencer title. And let those guys fight over there in the influencer world. They can live the world and the life of I'm a world champion without having to do something like this. Now, the issue for this that I have is you have a legitimate 135-pound champion fighter getting in the ring with a 190-pound guy, whatever it is that Jake Paul is at. So now we already let's really answer.
In contrast, many believe that despite all the hype, the massive weight disparity makes this more of a spectacle than a truly competitive or fair boxing match. Even promoters seem to acknowledge this. Special safety measures, like a catch weight of 195 pounds, the use of larger gloves, and labeling the match as an exhibition, are being implemented precisely because of those risks. For them, the fight isn't really about weight. It's about the fact that Gervonta has faced elite champions, while Jake's resume is built on limited experience. They imagine Davis darting in, landing clean shots, and making Jake look clumsy despite the size gap.
Comment about it. My question is, what's the rules? And like, are they going to actually try and knock each other out? Because it's going to be a glorified sparring match. I'm not watching, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Jake's going to have a hard time hitting him.
Yeah.
You know?
Big time. Gervonta's so fast and skilled.
Gervonta's going to eat his
I thought
guts.
Jake was going to fight Anthony Joshua. That seemed
No, that was actually getting.
That is
sounded
the
more
craziest
interesting.
idea I've ever heard. Jake Paul trying to fight Anthony Joshua is, crazy.
Not a sanctioned professional bout. This means the fight will not count towards either fighter's professional records.
So it's still being finalized.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
What is so behind the scenes? You think there are things like, hey, we don't punch each other in the jaw.
Yep. Or don't go. We can punch in the face, but don't go for broke. Like, don't knock me out.
Really?
Yeah. It's an exhibition.
That's
so
not
they
very
can get away
interesting
with
to
it.
me.
No. Until I find the rule sets, but when I hear exhibition, I'm like, okay.
Jake is bodied up, man.
He's big.
Yeah.
Probably has 100 pounds on Gervonta.
Maybe. I'd say Gervonta probably walks at 150.
Oh, he's so small.
He's so small. I mean, he's really small. Bring up Gervonta Davis next to Floyd Mayweather, because I've seen Floyd in person, and he's tiny. You've seen Floyd in person.
I've worked with Gervonta and Floyd.
Tiny.
Well, Floyd
dude.
likely has shoes on there.
Oh, dude, he's so small.
He's tiny, guys.
Yeah. I mean, he's so small. Wow. Great fighter.
Chael Sonnen recently criticized Jake Paul's decision to shift focus from Anthony Joshua to a fight with Gervonta Tank Davis, calling it a major letdown compared to what had been promised. Sonnen argued that, unlike Paul, Tank isn't naturally gifted at selling fights or building hype. He lets his fists do the talking inside the ring, but lacks the promotional instincts that Paul has developed over time. While Sonnen acknowledged Tank's undeniable skill and credibility as a fighter, he believes that without Paul's ability to create storylines and drive media attention, the event wouldn't generate the same buzz. In Sonnen's view, the fight's appeal depends far more on Paul's promotional machine than on the clash between the two fighters themselves.
It is the exact opposite of Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul for 2. So the fight that was being dangled and rumored in front of us, the exact opposite has happened. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is not fighting nobody. The opposite of fighting Anthony Joshua is fighting Tank Davis. Okay. So there's one big glaring issue for me. It's just your partner being Tank Davis. Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. It could be a title fight, a contenders fight, a main event fight. He could be the favorite. He could be the underdog. Tank doesn't know how to bring that information to you guys in a way that is compelling. And Tank is already blinking in this situation. You have one guy who is argued amongst the pound for pound current greats in boxing. You have another guy that has suggested he should not even be allowed to box, that he should have to call it something different. He should not be licensed. He should not be ranked in the top 14. He should never be selected for a world title. Okay. Now, Tank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport.
Meanwhile, Davis's view of Jake Paul has clearly evolved over time. At first, Davis dismissed Paul as nothing more than a loud, attention-seeking spectacle, publicly mocking his claims and treating him like a clown in the boxing world. But as Paul began to take training more seriously and gain legitimacy, Davis's attitude slowly shifted. He has since acknowledged Paul's work ethic, mental toughness, and commitment in the gym. While Davis still doesn't see Paul as top-tier boxing material, he's recently shown more openness to the idea of facing him, largely influenced by Paul's massive drawing power and public profile.